Boxing Day 2020 resembled a final song before the dawning end of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal career. 7 straight matches without a win, 8 defeats from the previous 11, and a 9th would simply be one too many, even for the beloved legend. Merely 6 points above relegation and lingering at 15th. The writing was on the wall for this one. Honeymoon phase was over. The FA Cup and Community Shield victories had been buried upon mountains of humiliation and disgrace. Then West Bromwich Albion manager Sam Allardyce even labelled them as relegation candidates. The infant project under Mikel, with the promise of getting Arsenal back to their roots, was fearing the plug. This felt like the end for Arteta, and even to those close with him. And the game against Chelsea seemed like the final play. But then, in the midst of all the darkness, a 20-year-old midfielder got his first start of the campaign. A terrific display and fateful assist later, Mikel's story would change. In that very day of December 26, 2020, Emile Smith Rowe saved Arteta's career and continued the journey history would tell differently. Arsenal went on to win 4 of their next 6 games without defeat, reached the Europa League semi-final, and climbed to 8th in the league by May, merely missing out on the Champions League with 6 points. Following that Boxing Day match, Smith Rowe started 9 consecutive games, playing 33 total matches in all competition. He was no doubt the catalyst for Arsenal's revival. Their Premier League record that season proved it. Arsenal had a 67% win rate with Smith Rowe starting, compared to only 30% without him. And alongside fellow academy graduate and friend Saka, he triggered what we currently know as the Arsenal Revolution. But 3 years and 7 months since that fateful day, Smith Rowe leaves the project he once saved himself. But in the end, it is he who's being pushed out. Demoted to a sporadic player in the midst of the club's biggest revival, the only surprising point is of his stay until now. After all, he only played for a combined of 763 total minutes in the past 3 seasons, with just 3 starts in the last 2. However, in that very season 2021 alone, he had played more than 2,000. Undoubtedly, his role had been diminished. After this wayward decline, a sale was inevitable. How did it all come to this, you might ask? Well, perhaps injuries derailed his growth. In September 2022, Smith Rowe underwent a groin surgery after the problem haunted him. By the time he got back in January 2023, Arsenal were 8 points clear at the top of the league with a settled team. And throughout the entire season, he only managed to get 92 minutes. That was a crucial year which Martin Odegaard established himself as one of Europe's finest playmakers, and Emile was simply unable to build momentum. Another injury at the start of last season had a similar effect, and the arrivals of Declan Rice and Kai Havertz pushed him down further the midfield hierarchy. Tactical changes too never got the best out of Smith Rowe. His initial role of an inside forward who drifted from the left was scrapped. Arteta started to utilize pure wingers like Martinelli. That left Emile battling for the number 10 starting position with Odegaard, one he wouldn't win. Or maybe even more likely, it must also be said that Arteta never seemed entirely convinced Smith Rowe would be a long-term undisputed star in the project. Even when the player was flying at his best, Mikel often spoke about him in different tones to players such as Saka and Odegaard. After a victory over West Brom in May 2021, Arteta was offered a chance to praise Smith Rowe for scoring his first goal of the season, but his response was more of a reminder on the distance the player had to go than encouragement to move forward. He is having an incredible season, but he's just scoring his first Premier League goal. An incredible season for a number 10 at Arsenal means he needs to score 15 and give 10 assists. Then you are right up there with the top guys in Europe and the league. He's got the ability, but he hasn't done it. According to the Telegraph, those around the club know Arteta has his favourites. But the harsh reality is, Smith Rowe was never one of them. But we can't blame Mikel fully for what has transpired. Players like Martinelli, Saka and Odegaard have all upped their gears in Arsenal's transformative years. But Smith Rowe never reached that, registering only 15 goals and 12 assists in his entire Arsenal career. In the chase to the summit of the league, the revolution had to be fast. Those that witnessed the back-to-back 8th place finishes are quite a few, with more capable and world-class players succeeding them into consecutive title charges. The club incorporated numerous talents such as Vieira and Rice at the heart of midfield, those suited to challenge the very best. Such is the far cry from those torrid days, and such was the speed of the revolution that Smith Rowe has been left behind. The end was clear ever since January. The prolonging was merely to find the optimal departure. But now that has also been cleared. The player embarks to West London, perhaps with an opportunity for the spirit of revival at the Craven Cottage. But as for Arsenal, it marks the conclusion of a sentimental story. A £34 million deal for an academy player is a substantial profit with no doubt. But the connection with Emile was deeper than any fee. Arriving at just 9 years old, he symbolized the better days of Arsenal's academy, and hope they dearly needed in their darkest days. The once dream of a club, player, and friend of spearheading the project gone, and at the precipice of the end. Once, not so long ago, Smith Rowe saved Arteta's career, and no doubt the manager is still grateful for that. But there's no room for sentimentality. This Arteta revolution waits for no one, even for the player that first saved it.